live, or not live, but recording.
Hi.
So, hey guys, welcome to
Hey.
American Autopsy. This is a segment called Tox Talk, where I have guests on just to talk, about different things and everything. And today I have on Shareef and Shelley to talk to us about direct democracy from Mike Gravel. How are you guys doing today?
Great,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have questions and everything, and I wrote them down. But even as I was writing them down, it was kind of like I was talking to myself like about like just wait, but and just going through the idea because it's like so basically I only wrote down like three questions because I ended up debating it with like another friend that I showed and everything, just different concepts of how it could work. So just like I guess just the basics, if you guys could explain just the shell of it to those who don't know about it yet.
Sure. Yeah. Let me pull out my notes really quick
Okay.
because it's a mouthful for anyone that's just not familiar with politics, such as myself before 6 months ago. So the gist is there's two pieces of legislation that Mike Gravel created, and it's uh, the legislative. Uh, sorry,
You're
notes.
good.
It's the legislative. Oh no, it's the People's Legislative Trust, and basically the policies and procedures that go along with it. Um, and one, it just is the first one just kind of proclaims like the people have the right to make laws and influence, and sort of explains the precedent on why and how they can do that. Um, so, as you're familiar, we have the Constitution, and before the Constitution, we had the Articles of Confederation. And I believe it's Article 7 of the Constitution that created our current Constitution, which is that 9 out of 13 colonies at the time um, decreed the law of the land, which was a 2/3 majority. So in the first part of the legislation, it explains that 2/3 majority can create laws and have the law of the land. So instead of like having each state put forward delegations and everything, this literally goes straight to the people. And so every 4 years we have a national vote. That's sort of the precedent of the number that we go off of. And so it'd be 2/3 of the people that voted in the last election just have to agree to pass these two laws in a national vote.
Sí, no suena.
So I guess the one of the things that I saw with that being the case and everything, like basically like putting the power of the vote back into the people, the power of the vote back into the hands of the people, with everything going on. And I'm fairly new to politics as well, so I'm still learning like different like like the legislative things and all that, the presidencies and the procedures. So that's where it was kind of confusing for me as well, but it kind of made sense as I read more about it. But like just seeing um how did you feel when you first like read about it, I guess, when you first heard about this as a person who wasn't necessarily as exposed to politics as much? And I guess the same for you as well, Shareef. Like, how did you guys feel when you first came across this? Like, did you have any knowledge of it prior, or was it just something that just hit you like bam and you were like, whoa, this like actually exists?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that that when me and Shelley talked about this, me and Shelley actually met on Grant Elwood's page on his channel.
Okay.
His channel is very a lot of people there are very super into politics. They'll talk to you about pretty much anything, and I feel like he's one of the most YouTubers that I feel that cultivates so many different people on his channel that kind of communicate and talk and help each other a little bit out of the channel. And then so when she brought this up to me, I immediately just caught the vision of like, okay, we can do so much with this. Medicare for all, UBI, Green New Deal, prison reform. There's so many different legislations we can actually pass, and we don't actually have to wait for Congress necessarily to pass any legislation. Or they do pass legislation, we can actually have say in how legislation is being passed.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the fascinating things I found in his blog that Mike Revell wrote, was talking about how and I may be wording it wrong because I read it like last week and I skimmed through it again today to make sure I was lined up. But it was a part where they were talking about they had a vote in Massachusetts and Boston and everything, where the people got together and basically voted to keep like slavery out of the Constitution or something like that, or the state constitution. And literally, like, I guess the Congress stepped in and said, yeah, nah, it's staying in there. And basically, like, slavery stayed within the Constitution due to that. So I find that kind of interesting because now I feel like now, flash forward to now, we're living in a time where it's still the government, but I feel like in my purview, it's the government that's an extension of the corporate state, basically. So, like, I know I'm going to keep reiterating this through the whole thing because, again, I'm excited about just that basic concept of it, of taking the power away from the corporation. So my question would be, though, like, what would be the mechanism of doing that? So, like, I know he was talking about, the part that fascinated me. So I found out about it through Graham Elwood, as I was telling Shelley. He said something about like blockchain voting being used to do this, like directly from your phone or something like that.
Yes, after the initial vote, there does need to be a paper ballot, and you could send those all out by email, and then people just fill them out and send them back. But you do need a paper copy, is the point I'm going with, so you can prove by any shadow of a doubt that this is legitimate, that this is good. And I just pulled it up because I know I didn't get the two laws right. It's the Citizens Amendment to the Constitution of the United States and the Citizens Legislative Procedure Act. Those are the two names. I messed it up. That was my bad on me.
You're good.
But on the Shareef mentioned prison reform. You were talking about slavery earlier, and that's how a huge part of our Constitution. So, fun fact, I think it's either early 2010, maybe late 2019. I actually did the math. And did you know 1 in every 131 Americans are currently in prison?
Are you serious?
It's really,
Wow.
yeah, it's fun math once you actually just add all the numbers. This is how many Americans there are. This is how many people are in prison. Hey.
Jeez. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
so yeah, you could actually completely abolish slavery in our country, then actually focus on illegal slavery, which is
Right.
huge.
Yeah, and that's like I just find it crazy. That's one of the things that, like, um just like a quick side note, like, I always find it crazy how hypocritical the United States is when they go around like critiquing other countries about whatever it is. And it's like, you guys like literally still have a form of legal slavery that exists within the government. So it's like, I feel like that just on that merit alone, not even the rest of the effed up things that our government does, just on that alone, it's like you have no room to be criticizing other people and saying how bad they are. That's not the excuse, whatever bad thing those people are doing, but I feel like it's like the pot calling the kettle black. So with that being said, so how would it factor? So, like, one of the things I wasn't clear on. So, you said you do the paper ballot to initiate the Citizens Amendment and go through with it. So let's say, we get it through. Sorry, go ahead. Did you want to interrupt?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna that's once you get a number of support, you can do the paper
Okay.
ballot and start the process. The exact number of where I was going in the beginning with Article 7 was having 2/3 of the national vote. So that's roughly 65 million citizens that just have to vote in favor or in favor of the two by the time national vote comes around. That's why we're currently doing a petition to see how many people are in favor. Right now it's 19. Hopefully we'll get to 65 million. It's a big number, but I feel like the current crisis will kind of allow for the momentum to grow.
Yeah, so that's one of the things too. Like how like awareness is definitely like going to be important, but it's like kind of to get into like kind of forced to vote talk here. I guess seeing how that all played out, it's like I just see it going down. Like people like us are being for people like Graham, Jimmy being for it, but how do we get the people like that were kind of like the skeptical group about forced to vote when everything went down to get on board? Because I feel like the left is so fractured right now. It's like we can't agree on anything. So it's
It's
like
going to
with
be. I'm sorry for cutting you off. It's going to be hard on both sides due to the fact that this is a concept that is old, is just as old as the Constitution. A lot of people don't know about it, and to get people to say, "Hey, did you know that you can actually pass legislation? You don't need Congress. You don't need these representatives. You can do it yourself." Getting people to wrap their brain around that concept is already going to be a hard battle, excluding which side of the fence you are politically. So just to educate people enough to let them be aware of that is already going to be hard, let alone about what party they belong to. So it's going to be a challenge either way. Educating people on that is going to be, I feel like it's going to be the hardest part. And once people who feel that's for change will sign up automatically because they're going to do their research. They're going to see if this is legit or not. They're going to see if we're bullshitting. And then once they realize that we're not, they'll sign up. But then all the other people who are not apolitical or, who are skeptical about any of this, they're not, it's going to be harder to win them over.
Yeah, and that's one thing. And like this just popped in my head as you were saying it, because I instantly thought about my mom. If I told my mom about this, like she would be one of the people because she watches a lot of mainstream media and things like that. But it's like it's hard to I feel like it would be hard to explain that concept. And I think it kind of drills at an overall problem that we have with just overall like people's knowledge of actual facts and what's going on.
It's
Like
American exceptionalism too. It's definitely American exceptionalism. America's great. Anything that America does is awesome. Don't talk bad about America. So there's a lot of people like that. I have so many people in my family are literally like that concept. I've never last year in 2020. Keep in mind, I'm 37. I'll be 38 in May. And last year was the first time I ever voted in any election. I voted for Jesse Ventura. And my dad, stereotypically, he's black. Blue no matter who kind of person. If Donald Trump ran as a Democrat, he would vote for him. Full stop, no exaggeration. He's voting for Trump because he's a Democrat. He's definitely the people that we make memes about. He's definitely that kind of guy. And he's that type of person that, he's not going to spit on the face of America, quote unquote, by not falling in line. He's going to fall in line with the general consensus of what happens in the news. If it doesn't happen in the news, it's not real news. He's definitely one of those people like it has to come from mainstream media. He watches the news, gets his paper, gets his coffee, and that's it. He's just very stereotypical down the line. If it happens on the news, it must be real. So I definitely know what you mean about your mom because my dad is the very same way.
I'm gonna hit the other side of this coin. As you can see, I'm white and I'm from the upper northeast. So my family's very conservative. My husband's family isn't, but like my family's very Trump and all of that. So it's very interesting from that point because they literally have the same complaints. They might not agree on the solutions, but they're the same complaints. Mm-hmm. And truthfully, that's why I think it's going to have to be like consolidating a lot of the unions, movements, parties that are outside of the establishment norm to get behind this idea. And once you hit the educational curve, it's really straightforward after that. Um, yeah, no, my family's literally the God, my aunt has a QAnon shirt. It's awful.
See, for me personally, I've been like all over the spectrum politically. Like I would have voted for Bernie if he was in there. Then like prior to that, I was a Trump supporter, like Trump supporter light on policy. Like I liked a lot of the policies he was saying, but then I saw through him, I was like, oh, he's like just Donald Trump from like the TV and everything. He's a con guy. He's tricking. Well, not he's tricking people, but he's not following through on what he said he was going to do. And then prior to that, I was like straight up like vote blue type of person and everything, because I was like, Democrats have always done historically better, right by black people, not knowing the history of the Democratic Party and understanding, the people within it. But like, it's just weird to like now to see like literally, I feel like there will be solutions like this one, for example, that's just nonpartisan. Like I have debates with like my best friend, like literally healthcare. He is against socialized single parent healthcare no matter what. And we just debate that for hours. But I feel like even something like like this that's nonpartisan, if I was to pitch it to him, like you said, Shareef, he would instantly take it as, are you saying fuck America right now? Like the Constitution's not good? I'm like, no, dude, like George Washington's literally here saying you should be able to change your government if you want to. Like literally one of the quintessential founding fathers. So it's like, I just feel
that's the funny thing about people who are pure constitutionalists. Like if you bring this up to them, they're like, "What are you talking about? This is ridiculous. This is not real. Get out of here. That's blasphemy." And I'm like, "It's crazy. It's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy to me that they feel that way."
Yeah, and that's just like, and honestly, that's kind of why just on this is why like I do like this channel and everything, because it's like I like just talking to people about politics, especially since like it was kind of like the political third eye was opened all at once, and like I'm literally talking to my mom, texting her like, did you know Barack Obama did this, or this, just talking about different things. She was like, go to sleep. It'll be like 2 in the morning because I work overnight. So
that's the big no. That's the big no in the black community. You cannot talk about Obama. You cannot do it.
I've literally gotten yelled out rooms.
Seriously, I bring up to black people about how Obama created a genocide in Yemen, which they have no idea what they're talking about. Like my story, I'm not, stereotypical on black people. I'm just talking about my neighborhood, my community, my family. I bring that up. They're like, what? What are you talking about? They have no idea that happened. So they're not plugged in. Even people who do more or less may know a little bit more about politics than me. They don't know that, because I think Obama did such a good job at being, charming and charismatic. He was able to do so many horrible things that people just overlooked and just didn't pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. I call him like the Billy D. Williams of the presidency. Absolutely. He was like Lando in Star Wars, completely tricking Han Solo.
Absolutely, definitely.
I'll say one nice thing about Barack Obama. I liked his last 6 months. I think he did a lot for a lot of people last 6 months. Okay. And I think that was kind of like a parting gift. Like, hey, I'm sorry. I did all these horrible things that are about to come out. But hey, don't forget, I let a lot of people out of jail. I made a lot of people citizens. And I'm going to go, make a bunch of bucks on doing speeches now. Like,
yeah.
So,
no president gets a pass to me. Zero president gets a pass.
Zero. I don't like any of our. I'm 28, so I've lived through Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and now Biden. And I don't like any of them. I would have liked Bernie. I would have compromised for Bernie was my compromise candidate. He wasn't my full stop. He was okay, dude, saying some good stuff. And I don't know. He came in after Obama, so I kind of was like, okay, well, we just kind of totally got lied to for 8 years. Like, is this going to be legit? And it was enough for them to just full stop and prevent him. And I guess that's kind of what started me on this whole thing is Bernie dropped out. What do we do now? That end all be all was officially taken. And
I wouldn't even say. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and that's kind of what started. Is I never did a super chat before. Graham was my first super chat, and I'm like, okay, how do we get a constitutional convention? And he's like, read this book. I was like, okay, and here I am almost a year later, and it's a lot more progress now than it was then.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Graham, just talk about Graham. He's actually like, so he did this one show where he was talking about like hip hop because I rap too, I do music too. And he was like, where's all the hip hop artists and everything that, spoke against power, spoke against the American empire and things like that. And he kind of like inspired me to get back. So I stopped doing music, and, because I kind of fell out of it, kind of inspired me to get back into music. So I'm kind of like finding a way to wedge the music with with the politics stuff too. So I was like, I'm like, Graham, peep my mixtape one day when I drop it. It's completely about against the empire. But yeah,
Nice.
Graham's a cool dude. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Graham's show a lot.
I was gonna piggyback off what both of you guys are saying. I jumped in after Forced to Vote because I was talking to Shelley about this. She always says I have good instincts for activism and organizing.
It's scary.
But I never dreamed on being an activist, being an organizer, and getting out there and actually petitioning and protesting people. I was never interested in that. The main reason why I did it is because none of our politicians are doing anything. And so I felt like I can't complain if I'm not out there doing something about it. And so I can't be, have this attitude about, this person not doing this, this person not doing this, this person not doing this. And so I'm more akin to now, the American people should really not look for leadership. Don't vote for anybody. Don't email people. Don't talk to them. Don't caucus for them. Don't give them any money, and do it ourselves. Fund our own communities. Fund our neighbors. And then ultimately, I think that they'll get the message. And if they do want our support, then now they have to give us some demands. I mean, to echo back to direct democracy, that's kind of the reason why, I do want, to push for that, because it will scare them to do what's necessary. And I think that we do need a lot of these forward-thinking strategies to get people, get politicians to do things we need them to do. And so, I've been home, most of COVID with my kids. And so I wasn't planning on being involved. But again, talking about Graham, Graham is like the main person that inspired me to go out there and do this. I mean, I have like 4 people that I look up to, as far as like in the political space: Lee Camp, Ron Pacone, obviously Jimmy Dore, and then Graham Elwood. So Graham mostly is the reason why I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out there and do this, because he, every time he talks about things and I ask him questions about certain things that I'm thinking about while I'm watching the show, and I was like, damn it, you know what? Let me get involved now, because seriously, no one's doing anything. So I guess I got to get out there. And so I've been talking to a lot of people.
After you make that disappointing realization.
Right. Seriously. So I talked to a lot of people from Forced to Vote, talked to a lot of people from People's Party. And so, I'm hoping now, I've been talking to activists, which is really cool. People that I never thought that I'd be able to get a chance to talk to, because of this moment. Now those people will talk to me, and I'm a nobody, you know what I mean? And I'm just starting out. And it's because they're not being listened to by those people. So they're now reaching out to different people that A, will listen to them, and B, want to be involved, and who's going to be engaged, and who's going to be active. So right now, will take anyone they can get. So it is an act of desperation, because we are in desperate times.
Yes,
people can't eat. People are going to lose their homes. People are going to lose their apartments. People losing their jobs. People don't have healthcare. People don't have a lot of things. And so now, any solution is a good one. Even, you know what I mean? So like they're looking for anything just to get help, and that's the problem right now. So that's why people are listening.
Shareef, can I bounce off of that really quick? Sorry.
Yeah,
you're good.
When you're saying about desperate times, every time our country has been in desperate times, we have seen the greatest change. Like, we don't see change happening when things are good, or things are enough for people to get by. But like the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, the women's movement, the whole thing with Vietnam, like
Great Depression.
Great Depression. Like it wasn't because I forget the president that passed the New Deal, but it wasn't because he wanted to. It's because FDR, that guy. I'm obviously not a history buff. Like, that's, yeah. But FDR didn't do it because he wanted to, or because he was a good guy. He did it because there were other. yeah, he was
He
like,
was scared to
okay,
death.
well, the Democratic Party at the time, half of that was made up of different socialist factions. And they're like, either do this or we walk.
But even then, it was the elites running the party because I think it was Graham. He went behind the history of Henry
I
Wallace as
remember that.
vice president.
I saw that.
Yeah, the elites didn't want
Oh,
Henry
yeah.
Wallace as his VP, so they literally like staged this kind of like what they did to Bernie, kind of this
Henry Wallace
political
is like my
coup.
political soulmate. Like
Yeah,
I even identify as like a 1950s, 1940s Republican. I know he was a Democrat, but he was like when I was first getting into all this, I'm like he was like he is my starting point. Like I wanted like the original Henry Wallace.
where yeah, I had a lot of like I guess historical people like FDR. Honestly, was one of those people for me. I like for and then on top of that, Malcolm X was very influential for me, man. Like I learned about him through Spike Lee's movie because I was a huge Spike Lee fan when I was a kid. And I
Right.
just started reading about him, reading his words, and then that's when my dad saw I started getting an interest for him, and started giving me books and teachings and things like that. And just like that man is like, if you don't agree with his overall philosophy, just his will to fight for what he believes in, that's something that I feel is very much lacking in not even just like left politics, but just the people in general. It's
Politics.
almost like, yeah, it's like the people are afraid of the government, which I get why. I
Well,
get why. But
I I always tell people, and people get mad at me when I say this, because since we're talking about FDR was scared to death. Unions, the labor unions, Communist Party, all those factions back in the day, they threatened his life. And back then, they literally was like, give me liberty or give me death. It was really like, I'm going to die for what I believe in. I'm going to die for me having, the little bit of scraps you're going to give me. And so something I always tell people, that you can't have a revolution without death. It's not possible. Since we talk about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, JFK, Gandhi, Marcus Garvey, every political leader, Che Guevara, every political leader who wanted change had to get a bullet. That's a fact. So the idea that you want to have a revolution and not have death, that's not possible. Even Breonna Taylor, and one second. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're good. I'll give you a break and I'll jump in really quick.
See, can you please go sit down? Can you please go sit down? Thank you, kiddo. Okay.
I just want to tell you something.
Okay.
I just want to tell you something, Daddy.
Okay. Okay. What do you want to tell me, kiddo?
I ate all my noodles, but I didn't eat all my.
Yeah, that happens a lot during our Zoom meetings.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
It is. I don't have kids. I'm 28, so I think it's adorable.
Yeah, I'm 24. So yeah.
I don't know. This whole craziness. I guess I'll touch on your Malcolm X point. Like the whole reason Martin Luther King's such a great guy is because Malcolm X was more threatening. Like you needed that scarier thing out there to make him look so good. Like it wasn't going to be just, oh yeah, Martin Luther King's such a great guy. Like we're just going to get behind him right away. No, the Black Panthers literally had to do their whole movement thing for it to even be on conversation. And then after he died, like everything else after someone dies, then it's, oh, this is such a good thing.
Yeah. Because like
not his death to clarify the
yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I didn't want that to come across awkward.
No,
one of the things I learned. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, one of the things I recently learned was that, like, during Martin Luther King's time, he was like very deeply unpopular in the country. So it's like I feel like that's also a point of fact a lot of people don't know. Like they just see Martin Luther King now. Oh, Martin Luther King Day. This blah blah blah. We learn about him in high school, but
he was hated.
Deeply unpopular
we have
in the country.
A lot of revisionist history in regards to a lot of years. We have a lot of revisionist history, which the King now he
Are you kind of breaking up, Shareef?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me just touch on that moment that really quick about Martin Luther King. Um, Mike Gravel is basically the Malcolm X to Martin Luther King. You know how like popular and loved Bernie Sanders was?
Mhm.
I swear to God, everybody that does not
Hates Mike Gravel.
hates him, and I'm like,
He was on
ah,
stage one time and literally like looked at Hillary Clinton and Obama, was like, "You guys are scary. You're terrifying. You're going to like kill us all, literally." And they're just laughing at him, and he's like, "Everything he's saying is right now. You shouldn't be laughing right now." Like,
yeah, he's like the most hated like ex-politician that ever existed. It's
yeah,
crazy.
You don't think Jill Stein? You don't think Jill Stein's up there?
Oh, she's up there. She's
she's
definitely
up
up there,
there
but
too.
she is way more charming.
I think Jill Stein. I don't know. I think Jill Stein might be worse. Might be more hated. I think Mike Gravel, if he wanted to, he could run for office again. I don't think Jill Stein can run for office again.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think she's done. I think it's over for her.
Yeah, because
I would love for her to run again, but I think
yeah, they feel like she robbed the great Hillary Clinton of her. Like, so yeah, like literally to this day, Susan Sarandon still gets it too. Like they'll bring her up just randomly out of nowhere, and it's like it's just insane that like like they bring up the fact like all the time, like, oh, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. It was like, yeah, because it was like she was running against Donald Trump, and then on top of that, she like basically handpicked him. Like Julian Assange revealed that, which is why they want to kill him. But like that, she basically handpicked this guy, and like almost half the country still found you like so just reviling, like they hated you. So it's like it's just ridiculous. Like, and this is honestly the appeal. This is one of the things I thought about with the direct democracy, just like how like they give you the illusion of choice. They think choosing between two terrible choices is an actual choice. It's like, oh, do you want to die by getting shot or stabbed? It's like, it's still death either way. Can I choose not dying?
We got what is it? We got right-wing we got a racist fascist with Donald Trump, and we replaced him with a far-right segregationist. Like I with Joe Biden, like I don't see a win. And that's the thing, like as you were saying with Susan Sarandon and all those, that they're basically just like celebrities. Like like once you're a political person, an influencer, like they're all so focused on like just their personal squabbles with one another. The same thing with the left and the right factions. Like they're so focused on their squabbles with one another. It's like, this is not the time. Put your ego aside and your pride for like 5 seconds. We can pass policy, then y'all can go your separate ways. It's just like, I don't know if we're allowed to swear in here, but grow the fuck up.
Yeah, you're cool. Yeah, I swear on my channel all the time.
Like,
all the time.
He does.
It's like you guys have all the power in the world. Why are you acting like children? We have no power, and yet we're supposed to be the most mature, responsible party in the room. Excuse me, if I'm gonna have responsibility, I'm gonna flex a little power with that.
And as soon as the people like speak up on their fuckery, they're instantly like, "Don't talk to me like that." Not even just like people only talk about it with like AOC and shit. Republicans do that shit too. Like
they
you hear
do.
Ted
They're
Cruz
horrible.
like, yeah, like I don't know why Trump supporters are attacking me like this. I don't fucking know. Maybe because you're not governing like the way they want to. No, I don't agree with what they want. But it's like if you get elected on a certain thing and you don't come through on that, you're a politician. You should be shitted on. Like, and I don't like. It's not that I don't like Rokan as a person, but I just don't agree with how he's moving. But he's one of the people that understand. He went on Jimmy's show and was like, "Yo, if I can't come here and like." Face you, a comedian, I should not have my fucking job, basically. Like, I'm a politician. I'm one of the most powerful people on the planet. Like,
I don't believe him.
Exactly. If I can't come here and talk to you, I shouldn't have my fucking job.
I don't believe O'Connor. I don't believe no one from the squad anymore. I don't believe any of them.
At all.
I'm just being honest. I don't. A lot of people. When I talk to people about AOC and the squad, I'm not like a person that's like too far gone. Like I'm so angry at politicians where like I won't vote for anyone or like I won't like find concessions with them. I'm recruitable. They can always win me back. They're just not going. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're too much of a celebrity. They're too insular, and they're beyond criticism. Like, you can't even criticize AOC or the squad. You can't criticize any of them. You're gonna get a hit squad against you. And so when
From
you
the
have
left, on
that,
top of that too, from the left.
unchecked, right? When you're that unchecked, you don't need to, have answer to anyone. You just don't. You really don't. Like, that you're gonna get, and that's part of the problem with politics in general, even before celebrityism in politics. That if you're gonna vote for a Democrat or Republican, no matter who it is, regardless, why would they listen to you? Seriously, why? Why are they gonna listen to you? You already gave them your vote already. You already said that you're gonna do whatever they want, whenever they want. So what's the point of catering to you if you're gonna give them the vote anyway? So,
Yeah, like they fucking like crucified Ice Cube for demanding shit from Joe Biden. Like fucking what's his name on CNN? Don Lemon was sitting here like trying to call him like basically a fucking Russian. Like literally,
Right.
I'm like, yo, Ice Cube literally like, look, I love Ice Cube. He made a song Russiagating. It was called "Lock Up the President," talking about how he felt he was a Russian asset and shit. So like, Ice Cube believes that shit. This is why I try to tell people stop falling for that Russian shit, because you're going to turn around and use it on you. But it's like, literally anybody just going, Joe Biden, may I please have this? Don't ask the king for that. Like slapping your hand in the bowl, like go away, peasant. Like that's literally what this whole election cycle was like. And it's like just fucking like when Bernie was still going against them, like just like they're competing. It was as if it was like a football team, and like literally half the audience was like, hey, opposing team, like get off the fucking court. We don't want you here. It's like, we just want this guy to run around and shoot layups all day. It's no game. Go away. And Bernie's just like, okay, I'll stop playing and let him win. It's like, what?
I mean, truthfully, I kind of understand how Bernie and AOC got, specifically just Bernie and specifically just AOC, got to the points where they are now. Bernie has been in office for how long? He was able to move the window to the left, which, I mean, for one man, applaud him for that. But that's sort of another reason that led me to this path with direct democracy, is just like, both of them kind of just opened my political mind of like, at the end of the day, they're just one person. They're not God. They're not a king. They're just one person who got lucky to be in power. Yeah. Same with AOC. It's just one person. She's got lucky to be in power. Yeah, she went through that and she did all the hard work to get there, but she's still there. But even in that aspect, like she's still not going to be able to do it all by herself, is the point. That's where I kind of got to, okay, well, she can't do it by herself, then there has to be a way for us to do it by ourselves. And that's how I landed with the direct democracy.
For sure. And it's like, that's what I'm loving about it a lot. Just, like I said, the concept of taking the power away from them basically, and highlighting, because I used to be an Elon Musk guy because of technology and everything. I'm a tech guy, and just like the concept of voting on blockchain as well. That's something that's like, for like that will force the technology to constantly like keep upgrading itself to, make sure it's maintained so people can use it to do what we need to do with it. So just the technology aspect of it too, as well. Like that's just like, it's a win all around, except for the richest people, the richest people in the country.
I know you would need to do Linux to be able to do like a blockchain voting, and I know that it'd have to be able to be accessed through the internet for everybody, but like this be like kept on like a Linux setup. But I don't know much more than how it would be for like, I don't know if you remember during Bernie's, he had the Act Blue, and then they would just send out, hey, what do you think of this? Yes or no? Oh, well, we're doing a petition. Can you put a signature here? And then it's like I imagine it would work something like how Act Blue works. Okay. And just like the people would see one side of it, and it would be the same thing that the Citizens Trust sees. That would be the kind of bookkeepers of the legislation. That's kind of how I think the blockchain would work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and another part that I liked about it. So I guess I'm just more commenting on it now because it was like the thing that also got me was how like he was talking about, and this is what was the part that got me too when Graham was talking about it, like simplifying the bills, like 500 words or less, I believe is what Mike Gravel said, like making them understandable for people to be able to read it without all this, legal jargon in it that honestly, in my opinion, is designed to confuse people and create.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's done on
Um,
purpose.
Did you want me to go over the steps on how the process would work after the legislation was implemented?
Sure. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, do you have a law you'd like to pass?
Medicare for all. I'll just go with that.
Medicare for all. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you would call up the legislative trust and say, "Hey, I would like to pass Medicare for all legislation," and like, could you have your attorney look at it? Then they would put up like a draft of the policy of what it would look like, and then this is the important part because this is where you would come in and you would do a national poll, completely self-funded. It's about $40,000 to see who's in favor of a Medicare for all legislation. And then once you get 40% in favor of the national vote, then from there on, you're guaranteed a vote. So, which is completely unlike what it is now. And it's not biased at all. It's literally, okay, you get 40% of the population, then it goes to a vote. There's procedures and how to get there, but that's the main idea.
Yeah, where now we just have like Pelosi, like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Bye. Oh, we're going to do this corporate handout thing.
Biased.
Yes.
Like, I
the
mean,
fact that her husband also like he got some of the paycheck protection loan money and everything, like you're finding out all these like ghouls like got access to this money, like it's just fucking ridiculous. Like, oh my god, like you guys are literally just like funneling it's like hedge funds. That's usually the job of hedge funds. Like the politicians just say, "Oh, hold my beer."
yes. Oh my God. Yes, that's exactly what they do. They're just like, oh, you want money? That's fine. And I mean, that's exactly what Joe Biden's doing right now with that whole, oh, well, we can't give you what Trump gave you. We have to means test it. And I'm like, why are you making him look good? He's a horrible human being. Stop making him look good.
But that's my issue. It's like even with Bernie, it's like Bernie was arguing for like 1,200, then eventually got down to 600. It took Donald Trump to bring $2,000 back to the table, and that's honestly why. Look, I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. I voted for Howie, but I would have preferred Trump to win because if you put in his ear, yo, you might get like some kind of awardment or something if you pass $200 like monthly, like. $200 monthly checks now, put my name on it, and it's going out the door. Like literally.
I don't give a shit whose name is on it. That is money that I'm not going to starve.
Also, too, it's not even Trump's fault. It's Nancy Pelosi's fault because Nancy Pelosi would have. Donald Trump was asking for a long time to put the $2,000 check, and Nancy Pelosi purposely did not send those checks out and stalled it just so Trump can lose. So yes, Trump
personal squabbles.
Himself to lose. He caused himself to lose 100%. Trump could have did one thing and he would have won, guaranteed. As soon as the lockdown happened, if he gave MAGA masks and gave them out and went to all his rallies and just throwing out MAGA masks, he would have won, guaranteed.
Dude, like he was shooting the toilet paper at the Puerto
like
Rico place, just shoot out masks to people and everything. Dude, they would have been on board. And it's like Donald Trump, and that's the sucky thing about Donald Trump is that he was horrible. Don't get it twisted. He was horrible.
He's terrible. Terrible.
But he had the potential to possibly radically change shit just because he didn't know what he was doing, basically.
I don't know. Call me as conspiracy theorist. I kind of think he kind of did that on purpose. I don't know. He's not dumb. He's not a dumb man.
No, I don't think he wanted to win. I don't think he wanted to win.
No, I don't think. No. I don't. One of my point is, I don't think he's as stupid as everyone thinks he is.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with that. He's a marketing genius.
Right, and I think that the whole mask thing and all the stuff he did in his leading up to the election, I think it was all planned. I know, call me conspiracy theory. I just think he potentially sabotaged his own election. I don't think he wanted to win.
Well, I think it's ego more so because I think it sounded like he was on board with mask until Fauci said otherwise. Because there was a point where Fauci said masks were useless, basically.
I remember
And
that.
Trump was saying to wear mask, and then Fauci, so Trump went over to Fauci, and then Fauci flipped back, and then the media started calling Trump a liar, and I think Trump's ego triggered, and that's when he was like, "Well, fuck that, I'm not giving in to y'all." And like literally, I feel like that's how it all started, because that's Trump's ego. Like that's what literally, I think that's what sunk him this election was his ego. He could not let go of certain shit. He could not let go of like, yo, they're literally running a guy against me who can barely talk, and like I feel like his ego just like zeroed in on like it was a lot of things that I feel like he miscalculated, like, and it's like, dude, like I don't know, man. With
No,
Trump,
it's pure ego. No, I agree with you on the ego point too. I definitely feel that 100%. He's all ego. He shoots from the hip. Everything about him is like, you talk to Trump, whoever whispers in there at one point, he'll change to that position, and someone else whispers on the ear and he'll change to that position. So,
coming from a rapper, it's literally like a rapper won president. I'm telling you right now, literally, he's literally like a Donald Trump. Like it's a thing in the hip hop community where like prior to him becoming president, when T.I. started saying, using big words and saying he hates Donald Trump, every rapper wanted to be like Donald Trump. They would talk about him all the time in their music, be in pictures with him, all this shit, because he represents that like new era of hip hop where it's like constant materialism, constant like, just absorbing like hyper capitalism basically is what hip hop is now, literally. And it's like literally all these rappers wanted to be like him. So like I'm like, yo, if you put 50 Cent in there, it would be like no different, except you would probably not say like he probably wouldn't dog whistle to like racist people and shit like that. But if you put 50 Cent
funny enough, 50 Cent was championing for Donald Trump to be president.
Yeah, that was because of his pocket though. 50, and plus he's a troll too.
But no, he is a troll. But I 100% believe that he wanted Trump.
I feel you. I can see it.
Yeah.
Then they lumped Cube in there too. Ice Cube, like Cube was just like, I just met with the man because Joe Biden wouldn't meet with me. Donald Trump would. I wouldn't have met with him. They tried to lump Cube into that circle too. It was like literally, it was a bad group. It was like Lil Pump, Ice Cube, and 50 Cent, literally. And I think Waka Flocka too. But
I kind of had an odd idea. Do you think Ice Cube would like the whole direct democracy thing? I don't know if he would.
I think he would. I don't know. I think he would, but I don't know how. I don't know how. He don't seem politically focused. I
mean, I'm just saying, like, part of it is I'm willing to talk to anybody and like anybody. Yeah. So that was one of those like ideas that I was
what I'm saying that. The reason I brought that up, like for example, like if you contact Susan Sarandon, I'm pretty sure I feel you have more success with Susan Sarandon than you would have with Ice Cube. You know what I mean? Because she's politically focused. She's politically focused.
Got it.
Yeah, Ice Cube is specifically focused on Black people, like whatever's going to benefit Black people, which I understand, but it's like with me, like that's how I advocate for the policies I advocate for, because I think these policies will help everybody. Like in the long run, like literally, like it's not going to hurt Black people to get Medicare for all. Now, if you implement Medicare for all and you do it like in a way where like it in a weaselly way, like keeps out certain groups like Black people or whatever group it is, that's when it's fucked up. But the policies, the way they're being introduced by certain people, is definitely going to benefit everybody. So it's like
I had someone talk to me about that too. That was like, Medicare, the number one thing we need to be focused on is not so much Medicare for all. We need to talk about racial inequality in this country, and basically just talk about identity politics. And I said, Medicare for all is the number one issue due to the fact of health. And it was like, oh, what about Black person going to a hospital, or how about the fact that health is affecting Black people more so in this country. COVID is affecting Black people more so in this country than anyone else. I said that's true, but that goes back to my point though. And I was like, even with like the situation with not having as many hospitals, you will still have the situation where you can still get coverage though. So that's kind of like my point, where you're kind of fixing that issue with like racial inequality. You approach it from a capitalist perspective, not from identity perspective. Because everyone wants to lean in with the culture war. I feel like you blanket issues, it solves the issue more so than thinking about leaning on the culture war. Because I think that the culture war doesn't really solve anything. A culture war for me is designed by capitalism. Something we saw about earlier in regards to the fact that division in this country is vapid now, and that's due to the fact the ruling class wants division. Division is currency. The number one thing they want to peddle is division. Then when we're divided, that's when they actually make more money. When we're together, they make less money. So they don't want us to get together. They don't want this. What we're doing right now, we're building. They don't want us to build. They'd rather us, do something else. Anything that's plotting and talking about how we can better our community and better society, they don't want to see that. That goes against their agenda. They don't want to see that.
That's
Exactly,
why consolidating groups like Extinction Rebellion, BLM, Black Panthers, Our Revolution, Movement for People's Party, even Justice Democrats, like just consolidating all of them behind an idea. And those are just movements and parties. Like you can go as far as the mind could see and just kind of consolidate all of them. So if you haven't noticed, I am not Black, so I don't know what are the issues that the Black community would really benefit from.
I'm not
And
Black either. That's a 10.
I wish I could get that. I turn red. I literally turn red. Yeah, but
The funny. I'm sorry not to cut you off, Shelley. You know what's so funny? The funny thing is, if you ask every Black person, because we're all different. Obviously, we're all different. But if you ask every Black person in the country will give you a different answer.
Yo, facts, bro.
So, but for me, the number one thing I think every Black person will get when it gets down to it is a distribution of wealth. The wealth inequality in this country is terrible. It affects minorities the most out of anybody in this country. And so, and you ask any Black person it'll give you a different answer, but it will go down to the wealth inequality in this country. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm not like I grew up for the most part in the suburbs. You feel me? Like I grew up in the suburbs, so it's like my experiences is different, even from like my cousins. So we moved from Philly when I was a kid, like younger and things like that. So I kind of had a taste of like living in the hood and shit like that. But it's like for the most part, my teenage years, like from like 12 on, I lived in the suburbs. So my cousins who like grew up there, I be talking to them about certain shit, and it's like I can't talk to them like not the way I am because like they looking at me like yo, like it boils down to this. Like they think it's explicitly.
And I'm happy you brought up that point because a lot of people think all Black people's situation is the same in this country.
Bro.
And they forget that a lot of Black people don't live in the hood. They live in the suburbs. They live in other well-to-do neighborhoods. Like I know some Black people, they don't understand. They understand, but not to the full extent that someone like me who lives in the hood about defund the police.
And police, exactly. Because I didn't either. I'll admit I didn't understand it.
I didn't either.
But I'm saying though that it's understandable that you don't. But what I'm saying that when it comes to Black issues, outside parties believe that all Black people's issues are all the same. But when you get down and ask a lot of Black people who don't live in the hood, they're not going to have the same response to defund the police. I'm like, what? Get rid of police? What are you talking about? We need police. You know what I mean? So like that's when people hear defund, they think get rid of. They don't understand that police budget, especially in New York, they get $6 billion a year. Are
you from New York?
Yeah, I'm from New York. Yeah.
Okay, word.
$6 billion, which is ridiculous. Why do you need that kind of money? Why do you need that? That's insane. And then you get other people like, well, maybe the cops need it. Maybe they need that money. How do you know that? No, they don't. They don't need that kind of money. That's ridiculous.
Bro, they don't need no fucking tanks and the bullshit they be getting, dog.
So I grew up in Saginaw during like the early 2000s, and during that time in Saginaw, it was under the state police occupancy. Like, I mean, we would talk so much shit about our place. We were like, oh, mall cops are more terrifying, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's the kind of stuff we would say. That's the kind of like thing we grew up in, because we grew up when the state police were there and they were flushing out all this, just all the crime, which, I mean, after 2006, 2010, I was in high school. It was like a full blown, we're leaving now. You guys are on your own. And now there's a very, it's like the it's like a truce between North and South Korea for like Detroit, Pontiac, Flint, and Saginaw. There's a very understood truce between the community and the police. And it's because of
Jesus.
that history in those communities. Like, so when there were all those BLM protests, I don't know if you remember,
Yeah.
in Flint, the police officer's like, okay, we're here, we're gonna walk with you guys.
Yeah, because y'all
Like,
going like everybody's experiencing kind of the same things going on in that community. It's like even the cops, like, and that's I feel like that's a credit because I would am I wrong in assuming that they live in the community as well?
no, they don't live in the community,
Okay,
but
okay.
they experience the same violence that the people in the community do.
Mhm.
And I've talked to police officers, I've talked to people in the community, and they all want the same thing. They all want to go home at the end of the day. And there is a push to do the community ones or have people on the force that know them. And truthfully, you talk to even the people in the police force, when they're fresh out of the academy or they're not in there for like 10 years or whatever, they're only there for like 4 or 5, they're still their spirit's not broken yet. They're not broken. They want to do right, they want to do good, they want to get that kid out of a starving situation, and they just want better for the family. But then like the police unions get involved, um people show up and they look threatening, and it's a harsh reality for a lot of people. And I mean, by no fault of their own, it's the environment that they're in.
Yeah. Talking to a person like me who don't like cops. Full disclaimer. However, I'm one of the people who feel that police need to be integral part of the community. And I think me, Shelley, you and I definitely talked about this before, that um, we need a way where the community and law enforcement work together. And we do need a way where police are not like
I think
they're
we
not
should
police
rebrand
themselves.
the police
Yeah,
officers.
they do need they do need rebranding for sure. They need rebranding, but also too, like when a situation with something when cops do something wrong, they can't police themselves. That's part of the problem. You
Yeah, there
know,
was like a third party or community or
you need
jury that
you
would
do
go up.
right. You do need a third party community, and another issue too, that you need police officers policing their own neighborhood and their own community. I don't want a cop who doesn't live in my neighborhood or even live in New York, because a lot of cops don't live in New York and they're policing New York. And I don't want that. I don't want them there because you don't understand our community, you don't understand our neighborhood, you don't understand who we are.
Culture.
But yet
It's
you,
culture.
yeah, but you live, you work here, but you don't live here. And so there's no accountability. If you shoot a kid that's living in New York, you can go back home to wherever you are. You're going to be protected. And so what I want is a cop to live in New York City, so I know where your grandmother lives. I know where your wife goes to. I know where your wife goes to work. I know where your kids go to school. You're going to think twice about doing something like that because you're part of the community. And I think and they do that on purpose. All these different things that we're talking about, the reason why it's kind of like scattered like this is so that those things do happen, because we don't have a situation where you can hold people accountable.
It's
And
almost like
that's
how
the
they
problem.
train soldiers. It's like a dehumanizing mechanism as well.
It is
It is.
dehumanizing. It truly is. There.
Um, yeah. I don't know. We kind of jumped on a bunch of topics. I don't know where we're going now.
I
That's what
think
direct
we were.
democracy. But funny enough, though, all this relates to direct democracy, because if you think about it, what if you had direct democracy in the police force? What if you had direct democracy in all facets of life? I truly feel that every problem in this country could be solved with direct democracy. Full stop.
Yeah,
Keep
I
in
hear
mind,
that.
we only met like 2 months ago with this whole idea, and he's like all for it. Like he hit the learning curve and just went full forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it was with like a lot of like, because I was like, I guess I would be described as like a conservative prior to like learning about politics. I was like anti like anything that had to do with like communism and socialism and everything. So don't even talk to me about Medicare for all. I ain't trying to hear that. Like, go work for what you need, blah, 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 all that. So, but when I started reading about it, just from the standpoint, like, it was a lot of business owners that would like campaign for like a lot of these policies and everything like that, because it's like it helps the small business owners. It takes a lot of like stress off of them with certain policies. But just learning more about it, it's kind of like unlearning what you have to learn, like unlearning the things that's been drilled into your brain. Because it's like I always found it weird that as I learned more about like the socialist and communist movements and things like that, that like a lot of like my family is very anti communism. At least my grandfather was anti-communism. Like, did not like, I remember talking about it when I was learning about like it in high school and everything. And he just has such negative things to say about it. Like, and that's where I learned about it from him. And when I learned, it's like, I just feel like everything has inherently bad traits and good traits. And I feel like we need to be taking the good traits of everything and kind of combining it, kind of like what Professor Wolf calls a blended economy as well.
My other hero, along with Henry Wallace, is Richard
Right.
Wolff. Like,
Right. Love Richard Wolff.
I would love
Love
to write a
Richard
bill with him and David Pakman on the economy. Like, I love their takes on economy. I would love to write a bill with them.
Yeah, I like I like David's takes on the economy too. Like I watch him sometimes. I know a lot of people have been shitting on him lately because of the everything going on, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't agree with him, but I can still watch him. It's just some people like he wasn't as antagonistic as like a Sam Cedar or like Cenk Uygur, like literally just like insulting my intelligence at times.
It
Like,
doesn't
stop
give you
it,
the
bro.
bad taste in your mouth afterwards.
Right.
Exactly.
He's just not the sweetest wine on the shelf.
Right. I was gonna say, go back to your point, Bendu. I believe Kyle Kalinske said at one point, if you ask people if you talk to people from issue to issue, and you explain to them about any partisan interference, whether they're conservative or non-conservative, most people would agree on the same issues. Like you talk to Medicare for all, but you don't talk to them in a way where it sounds like communism or socialist evilness. They'll probably would agree. Those Republicans will probably agree with it. Democratic probably would agree with it. It's when you have this filter of partisanship in the conversation. That's when people say, no, I don't want that. I don't want evil. No.
Exactly. Andrew Yang.
And
my fault. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and that's the problem. And then because the American who obviously know all the politics, they're gonna lean wherever their party lies. So that's really the main issue.
Yeah. And like Andrew Yang, he went on the Breakfast Club and was talking about this as well. He was like, he changes like the name of his like idea, like the UBI idea. He calls it the freedom dividend now, I believe. And he like literally when he feels it starts getting shitted on, he'll change the name because he feels like it's always the naming and the branding of something, because that's how somebody's always introduced to it at first, is the name of it. So it's like he was like, the big problem I have with the Democratic Party, which I don't get why like you don't just have everything wrong with the Democratic Party, but so it's his big problem with it is how they brand stuff, and like they just like stick to that name and what it's called. So they'll stick to like calling it like I can't think of like off the top of my head like a inherently Democratic policy, but they'll stick to that name no matter what, no matter how low it's polling, because of like it could be like misconceptions about it, but they'll just stick with the name instead of just change the name of it, like literally.
Yep, that's where Trump's marketing genius comes in. Those two should do something together.
Yeah.
I did want to get back to the legislation and the setup really quick.
Okay.
So for your Medicare for all, it would be called legislative trust. They have an attorney put together a draft for the legislation. Then once the legislation is properly drafted, you as the individual that initiated the legislation would do a national poll, which would be about $40,000. You get 40% of the general public that votes in favor of the initiative. So if like 100 people vote, you just need like 40 in favor. And then from there forward, it's just a bunch of procedures till you get to the vote. and that would involve a national hearing that would be on the website. It'd be a week long where you have like uh, professionals or experts on that topic come in and explain the pros, the cons. So there's like a full understanding of that. Um, and then after the hearing is, then it's sent to a deliberative body, and that kind of smooths out the wrinkles or the fine lines in the legislation. So it makes so the details make sense for how it's going to be passed. And then the deliberation sends the bill to Congress for a non-binding advisory vote. And Congress just votes yes or no, and they have 90 days to do so, to be like, hey, this is happening, just so you know, we're passing this bill. And from there, the legislation is scheduled for a vote. And if it's a no, then it ends there. The vote doesn't pass. But if it's a yes, then there's a second vote 6 months later to confirm, hey, this could pass. So if, let's say, 65 million people see this and they all sign the petition, then we could possibly have Medicare for all before the next presidential election.
Now, I have a question for you, Shelley. So let's say 65 million Americans pass through for direct democracy, and all these people want Medicare for all, and Congress still says no. What can we do?
It doesn't matter if they say no, it passes.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter if they say no because it's an advisory vote. So, like, even if it goes through, it doesn't matter because we'd be holding the same power that Congress does, but it would just be in a separate, it would just be in a different organizational. Like, right now we have representatives that vote for it on our behalf. We're just putting our vote forward, so we're skipping the whole representatives on our behalf part, and we're just voting for the legislation.
And we've been talking some time. Do we ever go over sovereignty? So I think that's really important because that's why I brought that up about Americans being the sovereign.
Yes. Well, I mean, sovereignty is just like everyone has it. It's not just a purely American thing. It's a purely human thing. If you're born, you're sovereign. You have that authority. And our specific legislation, not this specifically, but the Constitution in itself and the groundwork for that allows for people to change laws. That's why we have amendments. This is just cutting through all the bullshit and all the bipartisanship, and it's a policy-focused approach. And truly, I believe after like 10 or 15 necessary, like super necessary, everyone's in favor of these pieces of legislation, that it won't be used all the time. It'll be an option that's out there for people, but it's not going to be something that's used all the time.
So it's like, and that's one of the, I noticed that he in the video that I watched and a couple of the readings I saw, that like they would ask the person to like list like I think you asked the one girl. I watched the video that you went on the redneck
economics. Yeah,
Yes.
Stevie, it's cool.
Yes, and she
Like her.
you asked her if she could list like 50 policies she would pass or something like that.
I recommend everyone to take that challenge. I did actually find a congressman a candidate that ran for Congress in Nevada that came up with 52, which I was impressed with. But I challenge everyone to write 52 laws because that's how many you could pass with this legislation, because you could pass one a week and there's 52 weeks in the year. So you could pass 52 pieces of legislation per year. So,
Yeah,
yes, I welcome you to take that challenge.
I will try. I'm going to try to because like I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like,
I cheated and got to 52.
Definitely failed the challenge. Yeah. I don't even think I had 52 things I would be. Yeah,
works.
I don't know if I can do that. I think I'll fail.
Yeah, I would try. I'll send you like a copy of what I got so far once I get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, but so that's like literally that's what I was thinking too. Like once we get like the big ticket items out of the way, it's like I'm not saying like get rid of it, but like it would be used solely because I was like, it's easy to get people for things that they like, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into as well. Like I brought up my mom earlier because I kind of forgot the point I said it, but I came back to me now. Like my mom was a person, like I just think about like my mom and even myself in some regards as well. Like, you know, one of the things that like kind of got her nervous because I'm trying to get her into crypto, doing cryptocurrency and everything.
Oh,
What
my
got her
husband won't.
nervous? He won't.
He's like, we missed Bitcoin. It's not happening. I'm like, babe, but we get Ray tokens, and he's like, Shelley, no.
Tell him tell him it's Bitcoin. Crypto is still in its infancy. It's only about 10 years old. It's still a baby, still new.
Yeah, I'm definitely about to buy a couple of those Ray tokens.
We
Yeah.
haven't even scratched the surface with crypto yet. So
Like
tell
I
him
want to
get
get
in.
at least 10 Ray tokens, and then I'm like, you know what? We'll see what happens. Maybe not. It's 30
Well, I remember
bucks.
Graham was saying like literally all it's going to take is like a big name YouTube or some type of big name talent to come to Rockfin, and that thing is going to shoot up. That's what he's been saying a lot.
Yeah.
The guy the founder of Rockfin, I forget Martin something, I forget what his name was. He was talking about that too. He was like somebody with like an audience base of like a Rogan comes over, man. Like things are. It's
I agree.
yeah.
It's over. I agree, it's over.
Can you imagine what laws
did you
Joe
both hear
Rogan would
about,
advocate for?
Say it again, Shelley. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So can
love
you
that.
imagine what laws Joe Rogan would advocate for?
Free marijuana, bitch.
No, it's like legalize all drugs. In fact,
Yeah.
everyone gets a sample sent to their house. Like,
I love his show so much. I love his show, man.
I forget how short he is when you
Oh,
like
that's
have him
funny.
stand next to other people.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, he's
Like, I'm
Very
like,
short. Is he like 5'5", 5'6"?
yes.
yes, he's my height.
Yeah.
So
He's
we
legit
like,
though. He's a legit martial artist. Like I seen this video where he was doing like he was showing like people how to do leg kicks and everything, and it sounds like kicks the bag. It sounds like gunshots going off, dude. I'm like, oh, he's kind of legit.
he
He's
can kill
legit.
somebody.
Yeah. But
Right.
But like my mom, I'm trying to get her into crypto and everything, and like the accountability factor, like her having to memorize her passwords, not lose her books, do this, do that, do that. So it's like, what would be the mechanism? Like I feel like even though we're kind of in a shitty situation where
Does
like
your
it
mom use a
shouldn't.
checkbook?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, so this is what you do. You have the checkbook. The way it works on top is it says the account of which it's for, the date it was withdrawn, how much was in there. Just rewrite the top to have all the information for the cryptocurrency, whatever one you use. So if you use Ray tokens, just be like, okay, this is your cold cold wallet. It goes here, and then put Ray above like the amount, and then be like, this goes here. So just like translate all the information over to like the checkbook, and then she'll be like, oh, I get it.
Okay, I'll tell her that.
Yeah.
I'd even think about that myself.
Does she have also she can use a safe? She can use a safe and a code wallet, and she'll be good.
Yeah, that's
Facts.
generally it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just like that, like how do you present this to people that's like, because I feel like a lot of the reason why like a lot of the country like is the way it is, it is like corrupt, sinister, evil people involved, but I think it's also a lot of Americans like, fuck it, if it's not broke, don't fix it, like just leave it alone, like, and I feel like that's the mindset of a lot of Americans with certain things. So how do you because this is like radically like changing the landscape of how the country operates. How do you like convince people to do that?
Celebrities.
Conversation.
Okay.
Celebrities. Once a celebrity gets involved, yes, then they'll jump on board.
Dogecoin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah, we're like celebrities in this country is like royalty.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but it's part of our culture. We love celebrities.
Yeah, like I like the art the celebrities create. Like literally in my mind, the less art or whatever you contribute to that, you have, the less I'm going to like you, unless you're just like a super cool person, which is very few of them. Then you don't really know them personally. So it's like,
Right.
how do I know you're this person? Really, it's not just, because you're an actor, you're probably acting.
Right.
But yeah, but all right, I get you celebrities, because like I didn't even think about that, because like I feel like we should, and like we moving from celebrities, but I guess in some capacities they can be useful, I guess. Because it was like, because one of the first videos I did on my channel was about Cardi B. And it was like, I found it weird. So like a lot of my friends are kind of conservative guys and everything. So immediately they see Cardi B as like, I don't like her, like lefty, but get her away from me, right? And or just like even like some of my left-leaning friends just like think she's like, oh, she's like probably just an idiot who takes money, this and that. But I'm like, dude, she's actually like kind of knowledgeable about some policy. Like she kind of like, it's like, I think the video I made was like Cardi B had to push Joe Biden on healthcare, had to ask him actual policies that he's doing, because no other journalist has been asking him. They just been asking him like bullshit questions. Her and Charlemagne were literally the only two people that actually pushed Joe Biden in an interview.
I would love it if
I
Cardi
was
B
gonna
would
say
start
that's
like
a
a
problem
political
with our
YouTube channel.
society. No, that'd be cool. No, seriously. And I'm a person, I don't listen to her music. I'm not a fan of her music. But that's okay. But like Bendu said, she's right about the policy, and that's what I care about. I don't care if I'm interested in your art or not. I care about what you're for and what your policies are. And so, because I know that she's right about a lot of issues, that's why I do listen to her. And that's the problem in our country. Like, if we don't like somebody, music or whatever, we automatically dismiss them and think that they're dumb or whatever.
You kind of broke up at the end again. Should we say it one more time? The last couple words you said, you broke up at the end on my end.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. No, what I'm saying, that it's stupid and ridiculous. I think that, because we don't like someone's music or we don't like someone's art, we associate with them being, stupid or whatever. If they're right about an issue, they're right about the issue. Let's stick to the issues. And I think that's the problem with our culture. We're too focused on the celebrityism. And that's what I was saying to you before. If you get a celebrity involved in something, chances are people will gravitate towards it. And that also works in the other way as well, that, getting the celebrity involved can or make or break any situation. But, getting back to Cardi B, I'm not a fan of her work, but I'm a fan of her policies, and she does have really good arguments about a lot of things. She is on the right side of history, right side of the issues for me. So if she talks about this issue, I'm definitely gonna listen to it, because I'm paying favoritism now because she's left leaning. So that's why I kind of gravitate towards her.
Okay. Word. So like in terms of like, I guess, probability, or like what chance do you guys see of this happening? Because I honestly right now I think it's like 60-50 with everything going on, or six, that's bad math, 60-40. Like I think because with everybody so pissed off at the political structure right now, they will literally, like, I feel like Donald Trump is the perfect example of that. People were so pissed off at the system, they literally voted for Donald Trump. So I feel like something like this is definitely like plausible. So what's the, like, obviously you guys believe in it, but I'm kind of like cyclical sometimes, right? So I'll talk about a policy and advocate for it, but like in my mind, like not even in my mind, since I vocalize it,
Why am I
you're
putting
much
time and money and resources into all this? Like, what do I think the return's going to be?
No, not the return. Like, what do you like? Do you like not feasibility, like whether it's possible, because we know it's possible, but like the likelihood of it actually coming into fruition is what I'm saying.
I think it just is going to depend on how much worse it's going to have to get. Right now, we're almost to 500,000 people that died from COVID. We have high numbers of unemployment and homelessness. And when people are desperate, people lash out. And I want to put this forward as a nonviolent option to any type of, I don't know what a militia is going to do next. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know what's going to be. I don't know what kind of police violence is going to happen next. I know that this is a peaceful option forward. And I think that all peaceful options should be explored before violence. So to answer your question, it's just going to depend on how much worse it's going to get, and when people hit that breaking point when they're ready for something else.
Word, word. And just Shareef, to you as well. I've been hearing the when you were earlier when you were talking about like, just the activism side and everything like that. Like that was one of the aspects in the piece from Gravel I read as well, was him talking about like, it's gonna take, activists to get out there. So like um how do you like one mobilize and bring together like these different coalitions that may believe in different things? You feel me? Like from do you see it useful to like bring in like um libertarian people, like trying to mix them with like BLM people and things like that, kind of like what Jimmy's doing right now with the whole Boogaloo Boy situation and everything? But how do you see that happening? Like what would it take on the activist side? Because I'm not very familiar with that world. So what would it take there?
Oh, just to touch back on your point about percentage wise, I'm gonna say 70% chance of this happening. And that's not has nothing to do with the fact because I really want it. It has to do with the fact because of the moment. More people is gonna be homeless. I don't know if you guys saw the story about that girl, mom. It was in the news in Texas. Her mom was gonna be evicted, and she spent her tuition money to save her mother from being evicted. This happened a couple of days ago, and
Yeah,
then someone started a GoFundMe for her, and she got all the money back. She raised like $75,000 like in like 5 days, something like that.
that's really
That's
good.
So
beautiful. Yeah, that's
so
beautiful, man.
evictions are more and more evictions are happening. More and more people losing jobs. More and more people don't have health insurance. They don't have any answers. So this is why I'm giving that 70%. More people who lose their job. More people who have we have food lines here in New York. Every day when I walk by the Salvation Army, you just see long lines of people just trying to get food. In the same district that AOC represents, where she at. Um, so that's why my number is 70%. So the best solution that we have, to be quite honest with you, is just really just get out on the street and inform people, because we can't do anything now until more people are informed. And that kind of doesn't sound fair, doesn't sound right, doesn't sound reasonable, but it is, because you can't grow a grass movement with people if they're not informed. Just look at Medicare for All situation. Bernie Sanders has been asking for years, and only now around this moment, because the country is so well educated, we're so informed. That's why it's coming to pass. But the good thing is, because we have COVID, it's a really good thing. Because COVID is exposing capitalism, it's speeding faster. So more people are being more vocal online. A lot of people are airing out their grievances, and all these things are happening in real time. Like food is happening. Obviously, people can't afford real time. People can't afford healthcare. People don't have homes. That's all happening in real time. So because of which, give people a couple more months. Those who are going to lose their homes, those who are suffering the most, they're going to lean to something. They're going to either lean towards grabbing a gun or doing something illegal, or they're going to do something like what we're talking about now, finding some organization that say, hey, I want to get involved, I want to do something. And then when you start people mobilizing in the street, that worries the government, that worries our leadership. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take getting mobilized. But again, you still need more people to be informed. And unfortunately, a lot more people are going to have to hurt before they take action. So
I'm gonna intervene right here. I have to go off camera first a second because people walk behind me. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I want to respond to the activism uh, claim that you're making. So I'm noticing, as far as activism in America, it operates very similarly to a prisoner's barter system, or like a jail's barter system. They're very much, what can you do for me? And then I'll see what I can do for you, and we'll see what you show or see what you don't show, type of thing. And I think that if they really are, if the groups really are policy focused, and if they truly want the policies they say they do for who they're representing, I think they will get behind the direct democracy thing. So if BLM is really like, yeah, we want to defund the police, we're not just saying that, okay, um, then they'd be interested. Or if what is it? I don't even know. Extinction Rebellion. They really want like climate change and a Green New Deal, or if that's the Sunrise Movement, then they would support it because they could get their policies through this way. Um, and there is, I sort of mentioned this with Shareef with our last uh, conversation that we had. Is I think a really good way to get these groups together or consolidate behind one idea would be to do like a general strike and just do like 30 demands for 30 days.
Yeah.
Um, Shareef, could you? I have to step away for a second, but could you go more into that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I would me and Shelley both were talking about the general strike, but before general strike, you definitely need a protest. You definitely need a protest before general strike, and here's why: you got to get people a reason to leave their job. What's going to cause them? What's going to cause people? Like recently, we just had it here in New York, in the Bronx. Um, these Teamsters was protesting. It was protesting for $1. They wanted $1 increase raise, and they wanted healthcare because they don't have healthcare. Obviously, we're in a pandemic; they need healthcare. Um, and I don't know the success of the Teamsters right now. How they had with the factory job they was having for I believe the world's food produce company.
Yeah, I heard of. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot the name of the company, but they got to a protest. They did a general strike due to the fact that A, they don't have health care, and B, they're not making enough money. So in order for you to have a general strike, you need people who have solidarity with you. What's going to get bus drivers, factory workers, teachers, doctors, lawyers, you name it, do a general strike. You need some type of solidarity before you have a general strike. But so you need a protest first. You need a protest around something that everyone's having an issue with. Once they're protesting around that particular issue, once if that doesn't work, the general strike is the next step. So it's all about the building blocks. But something I was touching on before, something has to hurt. People has to hurt before it can heal, unfortunately. And I hate to say that. And when I talk to my other friends about this, they kind of think that I'm a crazy person because I said this. I said, well, look, every revolution comes from some sort of pain, and people don't move unless they're pushed. Literally, like if you're not hurt, if you're not going through something, if you're not losing something, people are too comfortable, especially in this country. We're very comfortable here.
Yep.
We don't have enough fight in us. We don't have warriors. We don't have these kind of people we have like in France, or the yellow vest. We don't have yellow vest in this country. We just don't. People act like they want to be a yellow vest person. They don't. And I'm going to speak for America right now. I'm going to be. It's going to sound very arrogant, and I'm going to be me. And some people may like what I have to say.
That's how the rest of the world views us, naive and arrogant.
But we're not France. We're culturally, and I'm not saying that because it's obvious, because we know they're a different culture, but it is. It's not just because we're not France, they're over there, we're over here. It's just that they have a history of protests, they have a history of general strikes. It's in their DNA that when something happens, they put on a yellow vest and they shut shit down. We in America, we're not used to doing that. And so we need to get to a point where we are like that. I think this moment is going to get us to that point. But my overarching point is that that's a muscle that they flex, and we don't have that muscle yet. And so we need to get into that groove of like when something's wrong, okay, we're shutting shit down, and no one goes to work, and we're not there yet. And that's the only way it's going to work. And so right now, what we need to do is protest a particular issue, and to get solidarity with that particular issue. Then we have the general strike, because now that person feels invested. Like I said, I'm a waiter. I don't know what Shelley does for a living. I don't know what you do for a living. But if I'm invested in this fight and we have a general strike, I'm going to take that day off from work or whatever and strike with you guys because we've been building for this moment. And I don't want to lose that opportunity for us not to have that moment. So I'll take that loss of my job because I know the bigger picture. Getting people out in the street for a general strike, you need to build that. You need to get people on the same page with you to make that commitment to say, hey, I'm going to take a general strike. I'm going to lose my job for this cause. And that's what you need to do. You need to build that momentum. But again, it goes back to having the pain. You gotta, it has to hurt. Once it hurts, then you get invested. Then you get involved because now you want to solve that issue. And then you can have the hurt, have the protest, then a general strike.
Just to touch on Truth's, a lot of great points that Truth made. Just because I stepped away. Did you guys go over that would be so 30 days for 30 demands? It'd be like the 10 demands.
No, I didn't. No, I'm sorry. I didn't go over. I didn't go over
Okay.
the demands yet because I wanted to touch with Bendu on the idea that before we even get to the demands, how we're gonna build people to even get to that point, is by having, basically finding solidarity with with Americans, then having a protest, then having a general strike, and then we can get to the demands, because then our numbers be so strong we can demand that. It won't become like, oh, who is this group of people demanding something? What? Get the fuck out of here. That will be their attitude to anyone's attitude. But once we have the numbers, we make a demand. It's real. That's scary.
Yeah. Just to the concept of the idea, it would be so even though it's called 30 demands for 30 days, there's no limit on it. But the idea behind it is for the first week, just offer 10 demands. If the demands aren't met, each week the demands aren't met, we add 10 more demands. And so if they carry it out and if they hold off like, oh no, we're not going to pass it, we're going to pass it this way. And then it's like, no, you're going to do it our way, and we'll just talk to you guys in a week from now. And the reason that's important is because they could sign them all by executive order, the next president that could come in and could undo them. So it would have to be passed through Congress. And that would mean that Congress would have to work together to do that.
Okay. I can rock with that.
Yeah, and then it's just if they don't agree to it, then another 10 demands, and so after a while, I'm pretty sure they feel the pressure.
It's kind of like using their own debt system against them.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think it was Will Smith in Suicide Squad where he was talking to the guy. He said, yo, I'm not going to kill this guy. He didn't send my money. He said, all right, I sent it. He said, now double it for being stupid. So I kind of see it like that. But yeah, I definitely can feel that.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah. And these are like, I know Chris Smalls started the Congress for Essential Workers. I would like to get to them. I'm talking to Whole Washington right now. I'd like to get them. There's the Sunrise Movement. There's Extinction Rebellion. There's BLM. There's Teamsters.
Quick sidebar. Can I talk about Chris Smalls right now?
Yo, Christian is dope, dog. Go ahead.
I like Chris Smalls, but I like Chris Smalls, but when I was talking to Shelley, and again, people are gonna hate me. I'm not poo-pooing on him, but I really think protesting Amazon nationwide, not a good idea.
Okay. Why you say that?
Has to be global.
Oh, global.
Has to be global. Here's why I say that. Amazon can afford to leave the United States. You're not hurting their pocket. They're good. They're a global billion-dollar company. And the only way you're going to actually make change against Amazon is having the rest of the country, every other country getting involved as well. Chris Smalls needs to take his fight and talk to other organizers outside of the United States and get them involved.
I agree, but for a general strike, like that would be enough.
No way. You know why I say they're not going to care. Amazon's not going to care. Not going to happen. They're too powerful. If Amazon was mainly a United States company, I would agree with you. 1,000%.
No. I'm not saying for Amazon to care. I'm saying for the U.S. government to care. But yes, I agree with you.
Well, what I'm saying, his fight. Well, if you're linking it to direct democracy, sure, but overall, it's not going to really make a difference in the long run if we don't have direct democracy. If he's in his fight, I'm just bringing that up because I do recognize his fight. I love his fight, and I applaud him. But I think that they're beyond the pale. They're too powerful for you to make that much of a change against Amazon. They don't need America. They can just go. They can literally leave this country and still be fine. But the problem will still be there because the issue is capitalism. You know what I mean? When it comes down to the end of the day, like they're doing the same thing here that they're doing in all the other countries. Like we're not special. So if you really want to stop Amazon, you have to stop them globally and not just worry about one country. You know, they're gonna screw them they're gonna screw people working class somehow, some way.
Yeah. I never even thought about it like that, because it's like, yeah, because if you have all those countries striking and everything, it's literally like you have to force, Jeff Bezos or whoever the fucking CEO is now to get on that phone and call them, be like, yo, give these people what they want. And that's what it's going to take. Yeah.
Seriously, it's just going to take that. I had a friend of mine who's like, oh, I don't buy iPhones anymore because of sweatshops. I said, sweetheart, I'm going to tell you something. You're gonna blow your mind. They all do it. All of them do it. They all do it. Google, Amazon, Apple, Victoria's Secret, any major corporation, they have some form of slavery, some type of slave system incorporated in their business. They all do it. So if that's your argument, you might not don't even buy anything from anybody.
Yeah, bro, live off the land.
Yeah.
But then watch out for that, because they will find a way to steal the dirt underneath your feet. So be careful of that.
Yeah.
But that's
no,
kind of where we're
point.
at.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I was saying, getting back to your point about the 30-day demand, I love the plan. I really want to do that. But I think that Shelley, what you're doing and growing this, and thank you for allowing me to help you do this. I think we're going to get this sooner than later. I don't think it's going to take the next election cycle. I really think it's going to happen much faster than that.
That's good.
Facts. I'm with it happening faster, because that's why I've been so, critical of certain people, because it's like you got people talking about 30 years. This, nah, bro, now. I'm not waiting on 30 years, dog. Like now.
I would agree with them if we didn't have COVID.
Okay, I can see what
I would agree with them if we didn't have COVID. We didn't have COVID, I was like, 50 years. We're not going to have it. Not possible. But because COVID is really exposing the rot of this country, a lot of people are just not going to. It's gonna be a nomadic country. We're gonna be like Brazil soon. It's gonna happen, and I really feel bad about what's gonna happen to this country. And I think that because that realization is people who do know, like us, we know that's coming. A lot of more people are gonna start being educated, and I think that's why I say it's gonna take less than 4 years. We're gonna know. Direct democracy is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We may lose, but I think that the conversation is definitely going to be front and center. Not possible. Not going with our current climate with COVID. That's not going to snowball. Even online now, you're seeing a lot of change for ranked choice voting, some sort of direct action. Like people are being more politically focused and organized, very involved in activism more so than ever. Because of the economic climate, because they feel like no one's listening to them and no one cares. And so that alone just says to me is going to happen by the next election cycle.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. And I want to I appreciate you guys for coming on, man. It's been definitely a learning experience for me. Definitely love just talking to y'all just about politics and everything we did. It was dope. You guys are dope people. And go ahead. I guess I'll go ahead and let you guys have the floor to shout yourselves out, your social media, your the groups you're a part of and everything. Just shout them out all right now, so people can know, and definitely where to go to sign the petition as well. I have signed it, and I want to start sharing it more. I'm horrible on social media, but go ahead.
Well, I'll make it quick because I'm not really that good with social media either. But thank you for having us on, Bendu. And it's just Action Network Hold a National Vote is the name of the petition. And I'm Miss Carter 0804 on Twitter, and I've kind of just been doing everything out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm on a part of Force to Vote Slack. You can follow Force to Vote on Twitter, and then you can follow me on Twitter at I am for Medicare for all on Twitter as well. Yeah, and I'm just really excited to be a part of this.
All right, cool. Same as me, man. Same as me. Thank you guys for coming on. Yeah, this has been American Autopsy Talks Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. Easy.